What could possibly have happened in Singapore that made Park Bo-gum and Kim So-hyun the center of everyone's attention, and compelled them to reveal secrets they had never shared before? The atmosphere was electric. The revelations unexpected. Truth even more fascinating than the rumors. Join Red Carpet Revealed as we uncover every detail and piece together the untold story, starting right now. Singapore's Marina Bay Sands had hosted countless glittering events. But the night was unlike anything the city had seen in months. The skyline shimmered against the velvet night. Lights rippling over the water. But the true electricity was inside the grand ballroom where fans from across Asia had gathered. Some had queued since dawn, clutching banners, handmade gifts, and posters of the two stars they had come to see. It was a rare occasion, Park Bo-gum and Kim So-hyun, together in the same place, outside of Korea, for a special international event. The air was thick with anticipation, the kind that prickled at the skin and made every whisper feel loaded with possibility. When the doors opened and the crowd surged forward, the room came alive in a blur of camera flashes, shouted greetings, and the unmistakable sound of hundreds of people calling out names. The mic introduced the night's headliners, and the cheers became deafening. Park Bo-gum emerged first, dressed in a perfectly tailored cream suit that seemed to glow under the stage lights, his warm smile instantly melting the distance between him and his audience. Moments later, Kim So-hyun stepped out in an elegant, flowing gown, her hair falling in soft waves over her shoulders. She paused for a fraction of a second as their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them, a flicker that was gone before anyone could name it, yet somehow visible to everyone watching. The stage was set for a night of fan interactions, games, and candid conversations. But no one expected what would happen halfway through. At first, the exchanges were light-hearted. Spoke about their impressions of Singapore, the food, the skyline, the kindness of the people. They teased each other gently, recalling the first time they had met on set years ago. Fans laughed, clapped, and shouted questions in both Korean and English. Definitely kept the mood buoyant. But then, during a segment called Never Have I Ever, the mic posed a question that made the air shift. Never have I ever kept a secret from the public for more than 3 years, the crowd gasped, and all eyes went to the two stars. Bo-gum hesitated, his fingers drumming lightly on the edge of his chair, then raised his paddle that read I have. A ripple of excitement went through the audience. So-hyun glanced at him, her lips curling into a smile tinged with mischief, and after a pause, she raised hers too. Nick leaned forward, sensing the opportunity. Care to share with us what these secrets are? He asked, grinning. The audience erupted in cheers, chanting their names, urging them to speak. Bo-gum chuckled, leaning toward the microphone. It's not something bad, he said, his tone measured but playful. It's something we promised to talk about only when the time was right. So-hyun nodded in agreement, adding, the time is now. It was a masterstroke in building suspense. Fans leaned forward in their seats, phones raised, recording every second. But instead of spilling everything right then, they left it hanging, moving on to the next segment. That small act of deferral only amplified the curiosity in the room. Whispers swirled. Was it about a shared project? A personal promise? Something that had happened between them years ago? Every glance, every smile exchanged between the two became a clue in an unsolved puzzle. Backstage during a short break, caught them in easy conversation. Their body language relaxed yet close. It was the kind of comfortable familiarity that spoke of shared experiences and unshakable trust. By the time they returned to the stage, the audience's appetite for answers was insatiable. The mic, sensing the building tension, promised that before the night ended, the untold truth would be revealed. But for now, the mystery remained intact. The frenzy both inside the ballroom and across social media. Clips from the Never Have I Ever segment were already circulating online. Captions like What Are They Hiding? And Bo-hyun moment in Singapore, flooding timelines. International fans, watching via live stream, began translating the exchanges into multiple languages. Ensuring the intrigue spread far beyond the city's borders. The night was far from over, but already clear, this was going to be one of those events that lived on in fan memory for years. And the biggest revelation was still to come. When they returned to the stage for the final segment, the energy in the room was almost tangible. The mic, clearly enjoying his role as the conduit between the stars and their eager fans, began with a simple question. Earlier, admitted to keeping a secret for more than 3 years. Can we finally hear what it is? Bogum glanced at So-hyun, at his eyes for a moment before looking out at the crowd. We've been holding on to this story for a long time, she said softly. Not because we wanted to hide it, but because it was special to us. Bogum nodded, taking the microphone. 3 years ago, we're both at a very different place in our lives. I was preparing for a role that challenged me in ways I didn't expect. And So-hyun was in between projects, deciding what her next step should be. He paused, the memory clearly vivid in his mind. We met in the most unexpected way, at an airport in Japan. We weren't there for the same reason, but by chance. Our flights were delayed because of a storm. We ended up sitting in the same lounge for hours, just talking. So-hyun laughed lightly at the recollection. It wasn't planned. And it wasn't about work. We just talked about life. And in that conversation, we made a promise to each other. A promise that we'd support one another, quietly. Where our careers took us. The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. Then, Bogum continued. We've been each other's sounding boards. We've sent messages before big auditions. Congratulated each other on premieres. And yes, we've met up in different countries without anyone knowing, just to catch up. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. So-hyun added. It wasn't about hiding from fans or the media, it was about keeping something for ourselves. In this industry, so much of our lives is public. Wanted to protect this little piece of ours until it felt right to share. The applause that followed was thunderous. Some fans wiped away tears, others cheered, their voices mingling in a chorus of appreciation. The revelation wasn't scandalous, it was intimate, human, and deeply relatable. It spoke to the universal need for connection. Friendships that endured despite distance and time. In the aftermath, the ballroom buzzed with renewed energy. Fans shouted their thanks, waving banners. Photographers captured the two stars standing side by side, smiling in the warm glow of the stage lights. Took their final bow. Bogum's hand brushed lightly against So-hyun's. And though it lasted only a second, it was enough to send another ripple of excitement through the crowd. By the time the event ended and the audience spilled out into the humid Singapore night, social media was on fire. Hashtags like Bogum So-hyun Singapore, Untold Truth Revealed, and Airport Promise trended worldwide. News outlets scrambled to write pieces not just about the event, but about the story itself, a quiet friendship sustained in the shadows, now brought into the light. In a quieter corner of the hotel lobby, they sat together away from the cameras, sipping tea and laughing about the day's whirlwind. Do you think we gave them enough? So-hyun asked with a teasing smile. Bogum chuckled. More than enough. Some things we'll still keep just for us. That shared understanding, the promise they made years ago, lived on, not as a secret anymore, but as a bond cherished by both, and now celebrated by the world. The stir they caused in Singapore wasn't just about a revelation. It was about the reminder that even in the dazzling, noisy world of fame, there's beauty in the quiet moments. Power in the stories that take years to tell. We're so glad you joined us to relive this unforgettable moment between Park Bogum and Kim So-hyun in Singapore. Now we want to hear from you. What did you think about their untold story? Share your thoughts, reactions, and theories in the comments below. In the conversation with fans from around the world. Story moved you? Don't forget to like it to show your support. Subscribe so you'll never miss our next exclusive celebrity reveal, emotional moment, or behind-the-scenes scoop. Likes, comments, and subscriptions mean the world to us, and they keep Red Carpet Revealed bringing you more of the stories you love. So, go ahead, click subscribe, tap like, and drop your comment now, because the next big reveal is just around the corner.